Hey, what's up, guys and girls? So today's video is going to be a little different. It's mostly going to be one of those type of videos that you don't really have to watch. You can just have it playing in the background as you do something else. So if you're heavy into the gaming community like I am, you know that Nintendo they announced the new Switch that they plan to release in October, around the time that Metroid Dread comes out. So I just wanted to hop on this video and just give like my thoughts about it. Mostly I'm going to be ranting about Nintendo as it is, like its current state in general. And let's get into it. So I bought a Nintendo Switch Lite back in 2019 when they first released Pokemon Sword and Pokemon Shield. And I'll be honest, I saw the reviews that and everything, that all the complaints everyone had about the game, but I was excited for it anyway because just the thought of playing a Pokemon game on a Nintendo Switch system, I'm thinking that, there's going to be a lot of power and a lot of features added to the gameplay. But they didn't have that, but now that's neither here or there. And that's not what this video is about today. So I did love my Nintendo Switch Lite at the time I got it. It was only $200, and I was kind of broke back then too, to be honest. So I couldn't even afford the regular Switch. But it was nice to have like a game console that I can play whenever I was on the train or a bus or at an airport. And later on, I purchased NBA 2K20. I love my NBA 2K games. I love my sports games in general. But I did love 2K20. I had to admit though, like compared to like 2K19, which I had for the PS4, the graphics were severely underpowered. But I understand it's Nintendo. It is what it is. I'm not going to compare like a Nintendo Switch to a PlayStation 4. I'm not about that life. But yeah, 2K20 had a lot of frame drops and there was a lot of lag when you're playing online, to the point where like the game was just almost unplayable. But anyway, I forgave Nintendo. I just kept playing the game anyway, and I got really far in it and spent some of my own hard-earned money on that DLC content. But whatever, that's not here or there. So I signed up for Nintendo Switch Online, and I'm happy that it's only $20 a year compared to, like, let's say a Game Pass, which is gonna for the Xbox, which is gonna be like running you over like nearly $200, or PlayStation, which online, which is gonna cost you like maybe like $60 a year. So yeah, Nintendo Switch Online is pretty cheap, but it's not really that good of a service. There's a lot of lag in the games that you play. You don't get any incentives like what you would get with, or any perks like what you would get with Xbox Game Pass. They do give you access to like the NES system and the SNES system online, so that allows you to play like old games from like when I was like a 4-year-old kid. But most of the games that they put on there are like, like the old classic Marios, which I don't mind, but they get kind of boring after a while. Or a bunch of games that I honestly never even heard of, and I really don't care to play because it's just, unless you're just in a mood for like really retro gaming, it's just not something that I care to play when we have game systems out that can play games with all these graphical powers and just like sheer raw power thanks to like NVIDIA graphic cards. But anyway, some of the problems I have with like Nintendo Switch is that like in the year 2021, Nintendo Switch does not have a party chat system. So most of my friends don't own like an Xbox Series X or S. They don't own a PS5 for sure. But a vast majority of them do have a Nintendo Switch. And when I log onto my Nintendo Switch, I do see them online. And we do have some games that we can play together. But if I want to like start a session with them, I have to go through like Facebook or some kind of third party app just to invite them to like play the game. I can't send them like a message in the game. I can't chat with them in the game. And it's just really frustrating that I can't do these things with a current gen system that we basically had the ability to do like ever since like what 2005 ish or I'm not sure. I'm thinking about like the 360 era where we had like party chat systems and I was able to communicate with people through my game console. Another problem I have with Nintendo Switch is the battery life. So the battery on the Nintendo Switch Lite particularly dies really fast unless I turn down the brightness on the console or I keep the volume all the way down. And I really don't take this thing out anymore, so I play it at home. So I still have to like keep the volume all the way down or plug in some headphones or just keep the Switch connected to the charger, which is just an uncomfortable and annoying way for me to play. Another problem with Nintendo Switch is that ever since the Xbox Series X and PS5 came out, the loading times for me are extremely noticeable. And to the point where I'm just like, I could just be doing something else right now. Like, if I were playing like on my Xbox, I'll be in game right now while the Switch is like still loading. I see that a lot for like Xenoverse, Dragon Ball Z Fighters, and all my other anime fighters that I like to play, like My Hero Academia. Even though I'm kind of falling out of that series and game altogether. This Nintendo Switch doesn't have a Bluetooth capability. I can't connect any Bluetooth headphones to my Switch. There is an adapter you can buy, but I don't want to do that. I wish they just built in Bluetooth just from the get-go. And yeah, it's 2021. Why don't a Nintendo Switch console have the Bluetooth capability? But let me keep going. Another problem I have with Nintendo right now is that none of their first party games ever go on sale. So for example, like Smash Bros. That game came out like in 2017. They still want to charge full price for it. I was waiting for that game to go on sale. I wasn't up to speed like everyone else, not knowing that Nintendo doesn't really have price drops on like their software. And in my honest opinion, like Nintendo Switch games should not be $60. So I can't think of a single Nintendo Switch game that I own that I think is well worth $60. Like Pokemon Sword, damn sure is not worth $60. And ported games like Devil May Cry 3 or No More Heroes 2, they have no improvements to the gameplay or any added content for you to keep enjoying the game. And multi-plat games typically look the worst on the Switch, if I'm just going to keep it real. Like, there's no person out there that's going to say, like, oh, like, the Switch has, like, the best looking graphics, or the Switch is, like, the best way to play, like, any of these multi-platform titles. And a lot of the multi-platform games nowadays don't even make it on the Switch. So, like, for example, like Kingdom Hearts, you're not going to get Kingdom Hearts on the Nintendo Switch. And if it did, it would play awful. And I heard, like, Kingdom Hearts 3 was bad. I haven't gotten there yet. I'm trying to get through Kingdom Hearts 1, which I honestly don't like either. And I haven't even touched 2 yet. Hopefully one day I can get to Kingdom Hearts 2. But, yeah, I could imagine that if those games came to the Switch, they would be just god-awful. And there's really no games for the Switch out right now that I'm excited for. So, with the exception of maybe Pokemon Arceus, but I know when that game comes out, it's going to have its problems, and people are going to pick apart that game completely and find every single flaw that that game has. But that's just one of the very few games that I have to look forward to the Switch. Other than that, I don't think there's anything coming out for the Switch that I am looking forward to, or definitely that I plan on pre-ordering. So now let me get to the OLED. Nintendo decides yesterday, which was July 6th, it just happened to be my birthday, so happy belated birthday to myself. They decide to release a new Nintendo Switch, and everyone and their mom was hoping that Nintendo would release like a Pro Switch model, something that will have 4K capability, at least like 1080p in handheld mode, 60 frames per second. Like, we know we're not going to get 120 frames per second in a handheld device, but like at least 60. Because yeah, 30 frames is still noticeable, even like on a small screen in handheld mode. They're going to release a system. It's coming out like sometime in October. I mentioned earlier that like around the time like they released Metroid Dread, it's going to be released. The system looks okay. I think it's like white or gold or something like that. Like it looks fine, or it doesn't look any different from any other Nintendo Switch variation that they release. But it's just going to have an OLED screen, which is just going to give you like better, brighter colors. It's going to look sharper. It's going to have a LAN port so that you'll be able to connect a cable directly to your Switch, and the online gameplay will be a lot smoother and won't be as laggy. I don't use LAN port connections because I don't have my console nearby, like my Wi-Fi router or anything, or where my internet is coming from. It's going to have double the storage, so they're going from 32 gigs to 64, which is good because like going back to like my 2K example, that game took like 34 gigs, which is more than what the original system comes with anyway. So I would have to buy an XD card or SD card just so I can play that one game. And I recently had to purchase like more external cards just so I can like keep the storage from my other games. And it's going to have like a wider kickstand so that it'll be more stable when you play it on flat surfaces or place it on a flat surface. But you're not going to get any 4K or even 1440p like what you would get with Xbox Series S. There's no native or upscaling, just 64 gigs of storage, which in gaming nowadays, that's just really not enough. There's no internal microphone. There's still no messaging system. I doubt they're going to have like any major operating system updates or anything like that. Nothing's going to change. So, to be honest, once I got my Xbox Series S, I used to play my Nintendo Switch in bed at night, like maybe 20 minutes before I actually dozed off to sleep. But now, I have a PS5 now. I have the Xbox Series X now, so I upgraded from the S. And I can use remote play with those systems. I don't even touch my Nintendo Switch anymore. I still have 3 games left to beat, to complete. I just don't even care. Like, I have Devil May Cry 3. The camera system in that game is so bad. Like, they ported it over from the GameCube. They could at least fix the camera. That's all they really had to do, and then the game would have been fine. It would have been perfectly fine, hack and slash type of game. But nope, they didn't fix the camera. They just ported it over to the Switch, and all they did was just add like a new way that you could switch from fighting styles. That's the only thing that they changed. So my Nintendo Switch basically just stays in its case, and it'll go weeks without me even turning it on. I'll charge it, but then like when I pick it up weeks later, I'll notice that the battery's like nearly drained. And to be honest, I'm pretty bored with my Nintendo Switch. Nintendo hasn't done anything to wow me lately, anything to excite me at all, and there's really nothing I'm looking forward to the Switch. And it's sad because like when I had my GameCube, like way back in the day when I was a kid, that was like my favorite console ever. Like all the best games I had during that time was on my GameCube. And it seems like Nintendo is just going downhill, and it's just sad to see like things trend this way. But that's all I really had to say on this video. I am not going to buy the OLED Nintendo Switch. I'm still going to wait for a Pro model, one that will have at least like 1440p or 4K capability, more storage. Hopefully they'll update the operating system, allow you to do like some kind of internal messaging system, have a microphone, something of that sort. Some kind of features that feels next gen, quick resume, or just faster loading times, something. But anyway, that's all I really had to say for this video. If you guys like what you heard, make sure that you leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and stay tuned for some more videos. And thanks for your viewership and support. I really appreciate it. I love you guys, and I'm out.